Yellows. I'm back with another ship review video, and today we'll be looking at the upcoming premium tier 10 Commonwealth light cruiser, the Brisbane or Brisbane or whichever one. Brisbane or Brisbane. I thought let's call it Brisbane. So the Brisbane will be part of a unique campaign along with the commander Matilda Kelly that involves the armory and a web campaign. Now, after the campaign, if you didn't get her from it, you will also be able to get her for coal in the armory for undisclosed, later at an undisclosed date. And they also haven't said how much she will be for coal, but I'm going to guess it's going to be around either 230,000 coal through 260,000 coal is my estimate for that. Now, I'm going to be going over my recommended captain build and the module setup and talk about the ship's parameters, then provide commentary about the replay. So the captain build and upgrades will be shown on the top right. Now, this is a standard cruiser build aside from the radial location. I find the radial location to be very useful for countering enemy DD movements and also submarine movements as well. Now, while you can also stealth the radar, the radial location still lets you angle your hull and prime your guns for when you do ambush the DD or if you're trying to hunt down a submarine as well. So definitely useful for that as well. Also, you do have ASW, like the ASW, which is really nice as well for hunting down subs, so it's pretty nice for that. Now, if you don't need the radial location, the anti-air defense and ASW expert is a viable alternative. The Brisbane's anti-air is quite good and can punish CV's attacks over time. So it may not stop a determined CV player, but you can punish lesser CV players for sure. We can also take top grade gunner as well, but Brisbane generally doesn't last long at close range, so I'd recommend the other two options as they don't require her to be in dangerous positions to work well. Now, the Brisbane can be thought of as a HE Minotaur, trading firepower for extra utility. In fact, the Brisbane shares the same explosive hull as a Minotaur, so you're going to have to dodge a lot in this ship for sure. Now, any BB that looks at you funny can dev strike you, and lack of smoke means you can't instantly drop detection. On the bright side, though, you do have a super heal that can 3D print your ship, pretty much a new ship. So you can, if you can survive the salvo, at least you can 3D print yourself a new one. Now, dodging is pretty much also the option that you can use. She does have improved acceleration and good turning abilities, which does make it where if you're able to do those well, you'll be able to dodge very, very well. So pretty much if you have the skill to do it, you'll be fine. So unlike the Minotaur, the Brisbane uses HE in normal AP rounds. It's not as effective against broadside targets, but enemies cannot negate your existence by just angling. Now, it does have a 30mm HE pin, which will pin other cruisers, but IFHE is needed to pin BB bow / stern armor. So that being said, her HE DPM is fairly low for a light cruiser, and her ballistics are bad past 10 kilometers. So that's why I didn't really recommend getting IFHE, because the low DPM of the HE. That's kind of like the main reason why I didn't recommend IFHE. But at the same time, if you do want to do IFHE, you're more than welcome to. But with the HE, you're trying to get more fires than you are trying to do just raw damage. For the HE in particular. Now, she does not get to the improved AP, unlike her British counterpart, the Minotaur. It has the same bounce angles and low penetration as other light cruisers, which makes it extremely situational at best. So she somewhat compensates with her long-range 13.5 kilometer torpedoes, which are the same range as the Janan, but these torpedoes are both stealthy and pack a good punch. You can even fire 10 per side or 20 if you turn ship around, which is a lot of torpedoes that have a 13.5 kilometer range. It's a really, really good torpedo as well. So even if you don't use your guns that much, you can still just pack out a lot of torpedoes to kind of negate aside from pushing. Also, the Brisbane does share a similar consumable set as Minotaur, except Brisbane does get a 12 kilometer radar, but doesn't have a smoke though. Now, combined with your 9.8 kilometer surface detection, it is easy to stealth radar enemy DDs, and hitting them at 10 kilometers can be difficult due to the slower ballistics of the shells. But your radar does only last for 20 seconds. Before, in previous during testing, it did have a 10 kilometer radar with a longer with a longer duration, but then they switched it to 12 kilometers that lasts only 20 seconds. Now, this is going to be the first non-Russian ship that has a 12-kilometer radar in the game. So it's a pretty cool addition to the game that finally we have a 12-kilometer radar that's not Russian. I think it's pretty cool, at least. I think it's pretty cool. You guys can let me down in the comments on how you guys think of it or not. Now, playstyle-wise, the Brisbane is kind of the open water version of a Minotaur or a useful utility version of a Yodo. You can kind of take your pick on that. Either way, the Brisbane is definitely a difficult ship to play, well, due to her fragile hull and the lack of smoke. One wrong move and you're going back to port instantly. So it's kind of a disaster in that regard. Now, the HE does sound nice, but you give up a lot of DPM for it, and many times you'll wish you had Minotaur's AP instead. Now, instead, the Brisbane is expected to kite with both torpedoes and guns, and you launch your torpedoes into an enemy push and watch them suffer. Now, you can clean up any survivors with your main gun. So pretty much you can get torpedo hits, get them to flood, then they DCP, then you can use your HE to get fires, or you can do the other way around. It's either or. You can do either or. You can either just use your guns first to get the fires, to get them DCP, then your torpedoes will hit and get floods. But normally you just want to be kind of stealthy, use your torpedoes to get the floods, get them to DCP, then you can use the fires. Then you can get the fires to get the extra damage for sure. Now, the 12-kilometer radar is more of a DD deterrent than a hunting weapon. You don't have enough time to kill DDs in one charge, but you can punish them for trying to spot you. This alone is definitely enough to discourage DDs from trying to spot you again. Now, overall, I'd say the Brisbane can be a great ship in the right hands, but requires a lot of work to just not explode. Also, I do love the fact that this ship, being a light cruiser, does get an aerial ASW. That's a very nice touch indeed. I do enjoy the fact it doesn't have the limitation of having to get like just depth charges off the back. It does get its own ASW planes, which are very nice in making it to be able to handle submarines a lot better than, you know, say other ships that just have depth charges in the back for sure. Now, I can definitely see this particular ship being very effective in smoke divisions. For instance, a lot of people will play a Radar Minotaur with a smoke DD, kind of like a Gearing, maybe a legendary modded Haragumo or a Smoke Shima. There's different variants or different smoke divisions, but normally they have a smoke DD and the radar cruiser like a Minotaur, the Boyne, and they use the smoke to cover the ship, and then the cruiser will radar, spot the DD, and they just kill the DD. So it kind of depends, but the Brisbane can definitely work really well with the smoke divisions. I can definitely see it doing really well with that. But the average player will likely have issues if they're running solo. Now, still, her 12-kilometer radar is not a joke, and because of this, the Brisbane has been preemptively restricted in the upcoming King of the Seas tournament, which is going to be in April, which I'm hoping to be casting the best AT score. We should be. As far as I'm aware, we're both going to be casting it most of it. He may not be able all of it, but I should be able to, but we'll see. I'll just take it as a white juice. Now, we'll still definitely see the Nevesky being the preferred due to her superior long-range ballistics, but the Brisbane may see uses as a potential backup when the Nevesky gets banned, assuming the players somehow acquire one in time. Now, it's definitely a similar issue for ranked. Person does have potential, but it explodes too easy to be overly useful. There's definitely like sturdier radar ships like Waspa, the Boyne, even the Nevesky, like Stalingrad. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of other ships that are more sturdy that can do well in ranks compared to the Brisbane. The Brisbane is just too overall squishy to be well. Now, for randoms, they'll definitely perform well as well. Now, again, I was saying before, the Delaney is also better due to her high DPM and better durability. So that's just my overall written segment for the Brisbane. I just wanted to kind of just do a brief talk about the ship, what I like about it and stuff like that. So, but again, the ship will be available in the upcoming missions, web campaign, and involved in the armory for the commander. With the unique command campaign along with the commander Matilda Kelly. She should be getting her own voiceover, I believe. She should be getting a special voiceover, which is really nice. I do like it when they have a special voiceover for these special commanders. But yeah, again, you're not gonna be able to get the ship for a while for just coal. I'm guessing it's probably gonna be like after the campaign stuff is over, maybe a month after. So maybe you'll be able to get it for coal in maybe 2 months is what I'm guessing. But again, they haven't really told us CCs much about that, so I can't really give you guys much intel on when exactly it is. Now, once I do get the information for it, I will put in a comment, like a pinned comment, which you'll either see down below when it will be released in the army for coal. And I'm guessing, again, the price is going to be around 230k through about 260 or 270, kind of the normal range for the tier 10 coal ships. It's kind of that range, so that's kind of why I'm just saying that. And again, you can always use a coupon and get it where it's cheaper. You don't have to, pay full price, of course. So now that that's out of the way, I'm just going to start talking about the ship. Now, I've considered running IFHE on this ship just to do the raw damage, like just getting that raw damage out. But at the same time, I feel like to get that raw damage with IFHE, I'd rather just set fires. Since you're putting out so many shells, you're going to definitely be able to get a lot more fires than you would if you had IFHE. So for instance, are you gonna either, it's like for the Haraguma, right? So there's two kind of Haraguma players that can pick it. Either do IFHE for the raw damage, you're running the raw damage out of the shells, or you run it with the demolition expert, or was it the pyrotechnic skill? It's one of those. It's either demolition expert or it's pyrotechnic, where you, for the DDs, that increases its fire chance. You guys can let me down in the comments. Like, I always forget the names of the newer skills, so my apologies, but you guys know which skill I'm talking about. It's a 2-point skill that increases the fire chance. That particular skill, yes, that skill, not DDs, yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's for DDs. So that particular skill is really nice to get that extra fire chance. Now, for me personally, I play the Haragumo with the IFHE because I like that extra raw damage from how many shells are going out. But for me, for the Brisbane, I enjoy just having the extra fire chance so that I can get the fires going and then go dark. I don't have to keep shooting to farm. I get the fires, go dark, let them burn. When they DCP, I just open up fire again. Whenever the DCPT is down, get another fire, go dark. You don't have to keep opening fire and risking your ship to being pretty much dev struck. Now, that's like the main reason why I prefer doing with the pirate, like with the HE, more of like the HE fire build than I would do with the IFHE. Now, as you guys are seeing now, well, during this, that I'm kind of hunting down this submarine with the ASW. Sorry, yeah, with the ASW and with the radio location. That's why I really enjoy having radio location on a lot of my ships. You can do a really good job of hunting down DD submarines with it. It's always fun to be able to hunt down a sub. It just feels so good to hunt them down. It just feels so nice. At the same time, it's definitely like I can definitely understand not everyone will want to run radio location. And again, it's like, well, what if the submarine's sitting at 30 meters or 60 meters? Well, yes, you're not going to be able to see them at that depth. That's completely understandable. The thing is, though, most submarines, if they're at that depth, they're not going to be able to spot on their own, and they're not going to be able to do that much at that depth. So they're going to have to be sitting at either periscope depth or on the surface to be able to spot on their own, or to be able to move around quickly. So if you know a generator where a submarine is, you can always use sonar as well to try to hunt it down if it's at the deeper areas. But again, it kind of just depends really on the kind of sub player it's playing too. Like for tier 10 subs, they're a lot more maneuverable, while tier 8 subs and tier 6 are a lot less maneuverable. And if you guys have any questions about that, you can just also let me know down in the comments as well about that. I do plan on running a 2023 submarine guide onto how to play and counter submarines. I just haven't really had the motivation to work on it fully yet, but I do plan on running it sooner or later for sure. Ooh, nice. Now, in this particular match, okay, so I was going to say this earlier, but I forgot to mention it. I do know that, yes, this is a arms race match. So some of you may be like, oh, it's just performing really well because it's an arm race match. So I'll be showcasing like another match after this, which I didn't perform as well. So you guys can kind of see like a really good match and a really like not as good match. But as you can tell, though, you really have to be very careful on how you angle. Like, as you can see, this Alaska is just chewing me up. Alaska's AP, we all know how strong Alaska AP is against cruisers, and my lord, did that man just chew me up the whole time. There wasn't really much I could do against him. I tried angling, I tried anything, and he just kept hitting my ass, or he just kept hitting my side. It just hurt over and over and over again. Like, Alaskas do not, ugh, they hurt, man. They are not fun to deal with at all. Like as a light cruiser, they hurt. I was hoping to kind of get really far away so that I could kind of use that as my advantage to him. But again, the ballistics aren't the best. So yes, I could try to just farm him from distance, but his ballistics are going to be better than mine. So he's more likely to hit his shots than mine in the end with that. But this match was actually a really close match. I'm going to take a sip of my drink. So this match was actually a really close match. Our CV and Submarine were able to pull it off the end with the Yamato, as you guys will see later on. But I wanted to make sure to kind of like showcase this whole match. I just wanted to showcase that because I do die later on, sadly, because yeah, I got a little bit greedy. I wanted the damage. It's always fun to get damage. It's always fun. So yeah, it's always fun. But so far I've done 130k damage and 3 kills and Confederate. That's pretty nice for a light tier 10 cruiser. That's pretty decent. I'm pretty happy with that. But I know it is arms race, so I'm guessing if this was an arms race, I probably would have gotten around maybe like I'd probably be at 100k damage right now if it was an arms race. I'm gonna take an estimate, probably be around 100k if it was an arms race. That's a good like estimate for me. I probably should have been more, if I was wanting to kind of focus on the Alaska only, which I probably shouldn't even try to do what I'm about to do. I should have been more like maneuver myself way to the left, not even trying to engage with the Alaska. Because as you know, Alaskas are super good against cruisers. Like one, I was trying to get fires on them. So I kind of started just trying to open farm them. And at the same time, I thought the Nevesky was distracted where he wouldn't shoot me. But pretty much the moment that I opened fire on the Alaska, I had the Nevesky on me instantly. Which is immediately, I was like, I'm dead. Because I was going to use the island to go dark away from the Alaska. Because I thought the Nevesky was going to keep going around, but I didn't pay attention to that specific situation. So I was kind of a dum-dum. Now look, I did get a permafire onto the Alaska there, like in that final salvo. From the Alaska, I did get a permafire, which is really nice. And I also did get another fire onto the Nevesky as well here. And that's just due to having the fire flags on and the extra fire chance from the skill. Wait, do I have the fire skill? I don't remember. I don't remember if I do. No, I do. For this match, I do. Never mind, I do. I'm stupid. No, I do. I should. Pray I do. Good lord. Man, this is actually a disaster. I don't remember my own build. Good lord. Man, that's how you know your memory's bad, when you don't even like remember your specific build. I'll probably just check later and I'll remember the build then. Good lord, man. That's how you know your memory's bad, when you don't even remember like what your exact build is. Good times, good times. But yeah, as a few guys probably know or noticed, as I posted on Twitter and I've seen on my streams, or you'll see in the funny compilation, or I've already seen, I do have a new chinchilla. We're gonna call him Mini Bo or Bo Jr. We've also, people have come up with all other funny names as well, which I don't know if I'll use them or not. But as of right now, his name is going to be Mini Bo or Bo Jr. Um, we got him as a rescue chinchilla. I did not intend to get him at all. I did not intend to get the chinchilla at all. That was more of a, I had family coming down for a funeral. I had a recent family death, which was kind of sudden, so I had family come down for that. I'll talk about that in a second. I'll talk about that for a second. I did 177k damage. I was on the team with 3036 base XP, which is really, that was pretty impressive. I'm pretty happy with that. And I did kill a submarine too, which I'm also very happy about. Killing submarines are always a lot of fun. I did 84k to that Alaska. Damn, that was nice. That's a lot of damage to farm. All right, anyway, so let's go back to the topic. So pretty much I had a recent family death, so that's kind of why I wasn't streaming as much. I was kind of spending time with my family. I went over to my parents' house, was spending time with my family and such. So I, was just focusing on my family, as you guys know. So I was focused on my family, doing that. And on one of the days that I was back at my back at my place, I had family come over and they were like, we're gonna get you, we're gonna get you chinchilla today. You have a choice between two. You have a choice between this one that was chinchilla that was in a store. It had an eye infection, and like all the bills were gonna be paid for. I wasn't gonna have to worry about anything from the vet. Everything was gonna be taken care of, and I have to worry about that. And then there was this chinchilla, the one I did get. He was a chinchilla that was in a home that wasn't really taking care of him very well. The person bought on a whim. They weren't really taking care of it well at all. Didn't have very they didn't even have a dust bath for a chinchilla. They didn't have a dust bath. The cage was too small. They weren't feeding it right. It wasn't really being taken care of. And this chinchilla, they didn't know the exact age of the chinchilla. I don't know how they didn't know, but I'm putting a rough estimate on the chinchilla's age around 6 to 8 months old. It's still a kit. It's not very old. It is a boy. So a funny story. So whenever we went to go get the chinchilla, whenever we went to go get it, we were talking about the stuff or whatever was there. We're just talking about stuff or whatever, and they were like, yeah, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl. And I just looked and I was like, yeah, it's a boy. And they're like, how can you tell? And I was like, it has a penis. And my whole family and them just stared at me for a second with their mouth open for a second, and started bawling, laughing. And it just felt really nice, because a lot of us were still really, upset. We're still grieving about the loss of the family member. So it was just a really nice laugh with the family to be able to laugh about something. We're just going through a really rough time. So it felt nice to be able to give my family a laugh. So it felt really nice doing that. So I've had Bo. It's been almost a week. Yeah, it's been okay. So it's been a week. It's been over a week now. And he's getting really along well with me. We're doing pretty well. One thing I'm noticing is that this particular fella is very mischievous and very hyper. As it's still young, it's extremely hyper. I have to actually make sure I let it out each night, in a room, to let it run around, because oh my lord, it has so much pimped up energy. Ugh. If I don't let it run around before I go to bed, it will legit run around for hours on the wheel. Hours and hours and hours and hours. Which is understandable. It's still a pup. It's still young. Of course, it's going to have a lot of pimped up energy, and it's just it's a chinchilla. It's kind of what it's not a chinchilla. It's like a little kid. It's going to have all this pimped up energy. You gotta, let it out and stuff. It can't just, sit in a cage all the day. So whenever I'm done streaming, I usually just take it into a room where I know it can't chew on anything or whatever, and I kind of just let it run around and do whatever, because I can't let it run around my whole apartment. The thing is so fast and so small, because it's not fully grown yet either. It's about half the size of what the OG bow was, so it's not fully grown. It's about half the size from what I can tell, so it still is going to be growing. Also, if you guys probably have noticed, I don't know, whenever you see it, you'll notice that some of its nose hairs were missing. That's because of the fact that whenever the owner had it, it put like Spanish moss in the cage. And if anyone knows what Spanish moss is, and what happens is that if you have Spanish moss like in a tree higher up, it doesn't have any small lice or mites in it doesn't have any mites in it. But if you have Spanish moss on the ground, it's very, very likely that it has mites in it. And most likely, and since chinchillas have such thick fur, most of the time mites or lice or ticks and stuff can't get to the skin to be able to cause any like irritation or itching. But on the nose, it can. If it's on the nose, it can. So what happened was that she had Spanish mice in the cage along with like regular sticks, which like rodents and chinchillas or like beavers, they have to usually eat bark off of like sticks or trees or whatever to be able to get minerals off of the bark. Like they eat it, like they eat the bark. They don't eat sticks, they don't eat wood, they eat the bark off and get the minerals off of that for their teeth. So normally if you see Bo chewing something, he's pretty much trying to get minerals off of the bark pretty much. So I have to give him sticks for that reason, also to help keep his teeth from growing too long and causing issues with that. But no, Bo Jr. is doing pretty well, or Mini Bo. I still call Bo to me, but for everyone else that's like trying to, they can call it Mini Bo or Bo Jr. People have come up with funny names with it. There's also like a theory that I got the chinchilla from a cocaine farm with how hyperactive it is. Because this chinchilla is crazy hyper. Good lord. It also stares at me very creepily sometimes. Like it is right now. It's kind of staring creepily. I would show you, but I don't have the camera set up on this recording, so I apologize for that one. Also, you'll probably hear Bo. You'll probably hear him right now, but you could probably hear him in my recordings or on stream, him running on the wheel. You're probably going to be hearing that in my recordings in the future. So if you hear like a running sound or something running like that, that's him in the background. So just letting you guys know in the future for that regard, because he is like ridiculously hyper, which is cool. I'm pretty happy to have a new chinchilla. I definitely miss the old one. I had him for so long, and it's just nice to have another pet to, you know, fill that. So yeah, we'll always miss the OG Bo, but the new Bo is definitely he's definitely liking his new home, and he's definitely very happy. He does a lot of happy dances and a lot of happy chinchilla noises. He's been getting a lot more comfy with me over time. Like he lets me pet him. I don't really try to hold him much, but he does let me pet him more than he first did. So he's definitely getting more used to my presence and me being around. So he's definitely getting more comfy with me over time, which is really nice. So I just wanted to update you guys on that. Now, going back to the match, so the Brisbane, I would recommend it as a fun ship for randoms, potentially for maybe clan battles, maybe potentially it's just so squishy. It's like normally you don't want to bring an overly squishy ship like say a Minotaur to clan battles that can easily just get death struck. You know what I mean? Like all it takes is one salvo and you're done. You're done. Even like heavy cruisers can still heavily damage like a Brisbane. It has the same hull as a Minotaur, so you can just call it like a Minotaur hybrid. It's gonna be just as squishy. Now it does have very good torp. What's the word I'm looking for? Like area denial. The 13.5 kilometer torpedoes, if you're on like a flank that's being pushed, is a very strong area denial ship. It does a very good job at that. It's pretty much how like you'd say it's a Yodo, but it has a faster reload, um, and the range is just shorter. It's a more stealthy area denial torping bow slash gunbow, and that's the best way I can put it for the Brisbane. It's pretty much how I played the Edgar. It's kind of how I played the Brisbane, except it's with radar, and that's kind of the similar way I put it. If you guys see how I play Edgar, I play this pretty similar to that without the smoke, and that's the best way I can kind of describe like a ship similarly. Like if you guys have seen how I play Edgar, like without smoke, and that's how I play this. It's pretty similar. I play the Edgar a lot with the torps. I use the torps a lot, but then I use the guns as well a lot too with the smoke or behind an island. It kind of just depends, but of course I play the Edgar a lot better. It's a super ship and it has improved AP, so of course it's gonna have better. It's gonna be better at that than this. This has regular AP with the HE. Now, some people like, would you rather just have this ship have Minotaur AP and no HE? No, I kind of enjoy this ship having HE. You gain a lot of damage with the HE. From fire damage is really, really nice. I do enjoy having the HE on this ship. The ship does also have really nice anti-air. The 6.9 kilometer anti-air really just, it's really nice. I'm also very impressed. The ship does also have the aerial ASW. A lot of light cruisers did not, but at least they're making it where the ship does have that. And again, I do run the radio location, which makes it easier to hunt down submarines and DDs, or at least know where they are, so you can prepare to engage them. That's like the main reason why I kind of push people to have radio location on their DDs, so it's easier for them to hunt down DDs and submarines. And in certain cruisers, I'd also recommend the radio location as well, for that particular reason. It makes it easier for you to be able to hunt down DDs, or at least know where the DDs or submarines are, so you can have a better time dealing with them in the end. Now, see, this particular match, I didn't do as well. I wasn't able to do as much. I only did 57k, and I was in the middle with like almost 1300 base XP, so I didn't do as well in this match. It is what it is. I just wanted to show like a really good match and kind of an average match. But yep, that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions or concerns, definitely leave in the comments down below. Well, this is OverlordBou, and I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching, and thank y'all for being subscribed to my channel. Deuces.